Hello doctors. Today we are going to discuss about the axillary artery and its branches. In our previous video we have discussed about the subclavian artery. I will give you the link in my description of my previous video. So starting with the axillary artery is separated by the pectoralis minor muscle. This is the first part of the axillary artery, second part of the axillary artery and the third part of the axillary artery. First part of the axillary artery is medial to the pectoralis minor. Then the second part is posterior to the pectoralis minor muscle and the third part is lateral to the pectoralis minor. Axillary artery supplies axilla. Okay. This is the subclavian artery. After the first rib, the subclavian artery becomes the axillary artery. Now we will see the branches of the axillary artery. In the axillary artery, there are three parts as I have said. It is easy to remember. First part have one branch, second part have two branches and third part have three branches. Now, the first part have the superior thoracic artery. This is the superior thoracic artery. Second part have thoracoacromion artery and the lateral thoracic artery. And the third part have subcapsular artery, anterior circumflex humeral artery and the posterior circumflex humeral artery. So, the superior thoracic artery supplies the medial and anterior axillary wall. So, it supplies the medial and anterior axillary wall. Okay. Now, the thoracoacromion artery. The thoracoacromion artery pierces the clavipectoral fascia. After piercing the clavipectoral fascia, it gives four branches. Okay. It gives four branches. Number one branch is pectoral. Pectoral branch, apart from axilla, it also supplies the breast. Number second branch is deltoid. Number third is clavicular. And number fourth is acromion. Okay. These are the pectoral, deltoid, clavicular and acromion branches given by the thoracoacromion artery after piercing the clavipectoral fascia. Then we also have the lateral thoracic artery which arises from the second part of the axillary artery and it also supplies the breast. Now we have the third part. Third part have the subcapsular artery. Subcapsular artery is the largest. This one is the largest artery of the axillary artery and it divides into circumflex scapular branch and thoracodorsal artery. The circumflex scapular branch goes from the triangular space and the posterior circumflex humeral artery goes from the quadrangular space along with the radial nerve. Now we will see the brachial artery. So brachial artery is continuation of the axillary artery at the lower border of the teres major. This is the teres major and from the lower border of the teres major it continues at this is the brachial artery and above that this is the axillary artery and above the first rib this is subclavian artery. Okay. Now the brachial artery terminates distally at the elbow joint and divides into radial and ulnar artery. And the profunda brachii, this is the profunda brachii. Profunda brachii artery is the largest branch of the brachial artery and supplies the posterior compartment of the arm and it anastomoses with the posterior circumflex humeral artery. Here we can see this is the brachial artery. This is the profunda brachii artery and here there are other branches of the brachial artery. This is the humeral nutrient artery that provides blood supply to the humerus bone and this profunda brachii artery divides into radial collateral artery and the middle collateral artery. And this is the superior ulnar artery which is a branch of the brachial artery and this is the inferior ulnar collateral artery. Okay. Then we will see the radial artery. Radial artery. Here, this is the radial artery. At the level of the elbow joint, the brachial artery divides into radial artery and the ulnar artery. In the distal forearm, as we can see here, in the distal forearm, the radial artery, this is the radial artery. Radial artery lies immediately lateral to the large tendon of flexor carpi radialis. Flexor carpi radialis muscle tendon is and lateral to this is the radial artery and this is anterior to the pronator quadratus muscle. In the wrist joint, it penetrates the posterolateral aspect of the hand between the base of the first and second metacarpal, and it gives major blood supply. This radial artery gives blood supply to index finger and thumb, mostly the lateral aspect of the index finger. Okay, now we will see the ulnar artery. This is the ulnar artery, another branch of the brachial artery at the elbow joint. Ulnar artery is larger in size than the radial artery and passes down medial side of the forearm and lifts the cubital fossa. Here is the cubital fossa, and lifts the cubital fossa, passing by deep to the pronator teres muscle. And in the distal region, the ulnar nerve is medial to the ulnar artery. This is the ulnar nerve and this is medial to the ulnar artery, and enters the hand by passing lateral to the pisiform bone and superficial to flexor retinaculum of the wrist and arches over the palm. Okay, this is the ulnar artery which arching over the palm and superficial to the flexor retinaculum. This is the flexor retinaculum, and superficial to it the ulnar artery is going, and it gives major blood supply. The ulnar artery gives blood supply to medial 3.5 digits. Okay, it gives blood supply to medial 3.5 digits, and branches of the ulnar recurrent artery with anterior and posterior branches. The branches are there, and there are common interosseous branches and the small carpal arteries, that is dorsal carpal and the palmar carpal. I will write down the branches so that it will be easier for you. Branches of ulnar artery is number 1 ulnar recurrent, then we have common interosseous, and number 3rd we have small carpal arteries. Okay, this common interosseous artery further divides into anterior and posterior, and the small carpal artery have dorsal carpal artery and palmar carpal arteries. Okay, so this is for today. Tomorrow we will start with the descending aorta, and tomorrow our topic of discussion will be the thoracic descending aorta. Thank you for watching, guys, and please do like, share and subscribe for upcoming more videos. Thank you.